We could try asking him again. This channel is not mocking anyone. This is exposing Justin Trudeau for the piece of crap that he is. And let me make that very clear. Just like you Americans call out Joe Biden, well, Canadians, we have the right to criticize our own leadership. And you Americans, you criticize Joe Biden. And in Canada, we don't like Justin Trudeau. So I'm calling him out and exposing him. He's a phony. And I wanted the world to see what a phony he is. Because I don't think it's fair that he can screw Canada and then just resign. Like, is there going to be no punishment for what Justin Trudeau did to our country? Justin Trudeau destroyed Canada and then he just resigns and goes lives on a beach and he goes retires on a beach. Is that justice? Is that justice after what Justin Trudeau did to Canada? How he destroyed our economy? He caused so many Canadians to become homeless. And then Justin Trudeau just resigns and just says, oh, okay, I'm just resigning. Gonna go live on a beach now and retire with all my millions of dollars. That, like, is that justice? That's not fair. So, no, I think Justin Trudeau, there should be some sort of, like, he should go to prison, Justin Trudeau. So, no, that's not fair. He can't just resign. So that's the point, is like to call out these evil people, because it's not fair that they destroy our country and then all they do is resign. And then they just resign and go retire, live on a beach somewhere. Like, that, is that fair? Is that justice for what these people did to our country? No. So that's the point. I mean, I'm a conservative Canadian. I care about the conservative Americans. I'm exposing the liberal frauds. I'm exposing the liberals. Yeah, because we need conservative voters. We need Texans to move to Canada so that Canada will have conservative voters. And that's the only way to get rid of the liberal government. The only way to get rid of the liberal Canadian government is to convince conservative Americans to move to Canada and get conservative voters. Because until we get rid of the liberal government, Canada is our economy will be suffering. So that's the way. That's how we get rid of our disgusting liberal government, is by conservative voters. And we need more of them. We need more conservative voters. And we're not going to get them from China and India because those countries are very communist. So we need conservative voters from America to move to Canada so that we could finally get rid of the liberal government and move in a conservative government that can restore Canada to its how make Canada great again. Trudeau is too he did blackface. Trudeau did worse than that. Trudeau did worse than what's shown in the meme right now. Trudeau did blackface. Blackface is the worst thing someone can do. Trudeau did even worse than what's in the meme. Trudeau did worse. Someone come in and be like, oh, like, you don't think that that's how Justin Trudeau feels? Why don't we call him right now? Why don't we, if you listen, go ask him tomorrow. Say, hey, Justin Trudeau, will you let Texans move to Canada? You know what he's gonna say? He'll probably say worse. Maybe he'll do blackface again. So there you go. I'm not showing a picture of Mother Teresa here. This is the most hated man in Canada for a reason. This is the most hated man in America for. This is why he resigned. This guy, he resigned because because they know he's a phony and a fraud, and he destroyed Canada. And so what? It's not fair that he can get away with destroying Canada and then just resign as if, and then that's it, and then just go live on an island. That's not fair. That's not justice. Okay. But yeah, he did worse than the meme. Heck, I should have. You know what? I should have just put up the blackface meme, because when he did blackface, that's the most disgusting thing someone can do. So actually, I could have made Justin Trudeau look much worse, and I didn't. Only because I will not put up a blackface meme, even though he did blackface 3 times and lied about it. I will not put up a blackface meme because I have a limit. But yeah, Justin Trudeau did much worse than in the photo. Justin Trudeau did blackface. Blackface is the most disgusting thing someone can do. It is though. Blackface is the worst thing someone can do because that's what we were told in Canada. It was put into our skulls. We were in Canadian education system. Our teachers always used to say, "Oh, blackface is the most racist, vile things that people could. This is why, blah blah blah. This is America." Our Canadian teachers Our Canadian teachers used to go on about how Americans are racist and they did blackface and those evil Americans that did racist and slavery. Our Canadian teachers used to go on about Americans and how racist they are and they did all this evil blackface and blackface is racist and how dare the Americans do slavery and how Canada helped freed the slaves from those American slave owners. Yeah, Canadian teachers that like they taught us how racist blackface is. It's one of the most racist things someone can do. And then a lot of our teachers, our Canadian teachers, they used to say at 9/11 was an inside job. Everyone knows it, blah, blah, blah. Did you see George Bush win that photo? He clearly was in on it. Like, I'm telling you what the teachers said. Listen, I'm telling you what our Canadian teachers told us, okay? I don't think 9/11 was an inside job. Like I said, I don't and by the way, I don't think 9/11 was an inside job and I never watched Bowling for Columbine, just so that it's clear. All of these movies by Michael Moore, these were propaganda movies. Let's call them out for what they were. The Michael Moore movies from the 2000 era, those were propaganda movies. The Michael Moore movies were propaganda movies. Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11. This was pure anti American propaganda, and it was shown all over Canada. Bowling for Columbine and Fahrenheit 9/11 were like super famous movies in Canada in the 2000 era. And I did not agree with those movies because I am actually for the Second Amendment. Canada, the reason why Canada is in such shambles is because we don't have the Second Amendment. And I'm for the Second Amendment. So let's make that very clear. Not all Canadians are anti gun. Not all Canadians are anti Second Amendment. I am for the Second Amendment. Like I remember there were so many Canadian politicians saying those crazy Americans and all their guns, they need to disarm the American people. Those crazy Americans and all their guns. We need gun control. We need sensible gun like Canada. And then you remember that Michael Moore movie where he was saying, "Oh, look how safe Canada is. You don't have to lock your doors in Canada, and Canada has gun control." I did not believe any of that garbage. Michael Moore was a horrible filmmaker, and it was all propaganda. It was anti-American propaganda. But yeah, I mean, all those Canadian politicians, they used to say, crazy Americans, they got all these guns. There's like, why do you need to get a, you know, why, like, so they would always say, why does Americans need so many guns, you know? And then I used to always say, well, if the natives had guns, then, you know, things would have turned out differently for the natives if they had guns. So guns are great. They keep you safe from people when they're from invaders, you know. Because okay, hold on, Gray Tide. Hello. So I am for a truly conservative government. But there are a lot of imposters, fake people pretending to be conservative, right? There's all of these politicians that one day they're running as a liberal, the next day they're running as a conservative, the next day they're running as an independent, okay? Look at Tulsi Gabbard. Was she not a Democrat for so many years and now she's a Republican? Which is it? Which is it? Is Tulsi Gabbard a Democrat or a Republican? So explain to me why all of these politicians are so flip-floppy. If you're a true conservative, how could you one day be running as a conservative, the next day you're a Democrat? It doesn't make any, or whatever, liberal. It doesn't make any sense. So I am for a truly conservative politician, one that is just not a fly-by-night conservative, one that's a real conservative. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I don't think that she's that bad. I think in terms of politicians, Tulsi Gabbard is one of the better ones. But even her, right? Like she was a Democrat all those years. And then at least she turned around and said, look, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have been a Democrat. Those people are corrupt. So I will say that Tulsi Gabbard, I commend her for that. I really do. But still, like, come on, like, all of these politicians, they run as a Democrat, then the next day they're Republican, then they're conservative, then they're liberal. Make up your mind. I didn't even bring up Trump's name. Don't I'm not talking about Trump. No. You want to I ain't going there. I might be a dumb Canadian, but I'm not that dumb. I'm not going to start talking about Trump. I am a Canadian and I have the right to criticize Justin Trudeau. I have the right to criticize all the Canadian politicians. But I will not talk about Donald Trump because he's an American president and I am a Canadian and I'm not going to go there. So don't even try. But you almost got me there. You almost fooled me. You almost tricked me into talking about Trump and the fact that anyways, no, I'm not going to go there, but you almost got me. But you know what I think would be good for real though? You know how they have all of these crazy reality TV shows? Where what if they had, and listen, I'm not saying that a polygraph test is 100% accurate, but it still counts as some sort of evidence, right? So, of course, it's possible that someone could be telling the truth and still fail a polygraph test. But if someone is willing to take a polygraph test on reality television, on live television, they could have a show. They could have a reality show. America loves reality TV. They could have a reality TV show, celebrity polygraph test, politician polygraph test. And we could take these politicians, we could take these celebrities, and we could give them polygraph tests, lie detector tests on live television. And then people can ask them questions. Like you could be in the audience and Justin Trudeau, if we could ever get him hooked up to a lie detector machine, the lie detector machine would probably, anyways, if we could ever get Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hooked up to a lie detector machine on live television, people, the audience, could ask them live questions. And then at least the politician can turn around and say, look, if they fail, they could still blame and say, look, a polygraph is not 100% accurate. But the fact that a politician would at least agree to take it on live television, it's an indicator, it's proof, right? Because the politicians who would be like, no, I am not going to take a lie detector test on live television. Those politicians that wouldn't even take the test at all, at least if a politician agrees to take the test and he still fails, at least he agreed to take the test. I will commend the politician, and the politician can turn around and say, look, a polygraph test is not 100% accurate, but I agreed to take the test. So at least if I would rather vote for a politician that agrees to take the test and fails than a politician that says, no way I'm going to take a live polygraph lie detector test on live television. No way. So there you go. We need to hook these politicians up to lie detector tests on reality television, give them a polygraph to test, and there you go. Now we can find an honest person. Yeah, we know they're lying, but at least if we have someone who's willing to take a lie detector test, at least we can get some sort of indication because it counts as some sort of evidence, like it counts a little bit. Of course it's not 100% conclusive, okay, but it's still better than nothing, right? It's better than us knowing nothing because right now these politicians, these billionaires, they go behind closed doors and they have meetings behind closed doors and we have no idea what's going on. But at least if we get a liar, at least if we get him on hook to a live polygraph test, at least we get some sort of clues as to what's really going on. Because if we ask one of them, we say, hey, Justin Trudeau, what's really going on with the climate change in the Arctic or whatever? What's really going on with the ice caps melting? What's really going on? And suddenly we see a weird answer or something. Even if it might be a lie, we get some sort of clue, right? Because we kind of see his facial expressions change. We see him sweating a bit on the lie detector test. So even though it's not 100% conclusive, at least it's some sort of evidence as opposed to just these go behind closed doors and the politicians have these meetings behind closed doors and we have no idea what's going on. So no, I don't think everyone would do it because there are a lot of politicians that wouldn't even dare because they're such liars that they wouldn't even dare go on live television, take a lie detector test. No, I don't know. I don't think everyone would do it. Like a politician who agrees to take a lie detector test and fails is way better than a politician who doesn't even agree to take one at all. Right? Right? I mean, if you have to choose between a politician who agrees to take a lie detector test on live television and fails, and a politician who doesn't even want to take it at all, who refuses to take a lie detector test on live television at all, I would much rather choose the politician that agreed to take the lie detector test and failed than the one who didn't even want to take it at all. Clearly, one is more honest than the other. So even if lie detector tests aren't 100% conclusive, at least if one's willing to take it on live television, that's something. That counts as something. You know what? Okay, they use lie detector tests all the time. The cops, the police, right? Don't they still use lie detector tests? So why are politicians allowed to avoid them? Okay, I get what people are saying. Yes, I'm not saying that they're 100% conclusive, but it's how come then they still use lie detector tests, right? They still give lie detector tests to people. They just don't give it to politicians. So even if someone's going to turn around and say, "Oh, well, they're not 100% conclusive," well, then why are they even still being administered at all? Then the lie detector test should not even be talked about, not even be used at all anymore, if that's the case. So you can't turn around and say, "Oh, well, lie detector tests, they can still do them, but we're not going to give them to politicians." Why not? If you're going to give lie detector tests to Joe Average down the street, why not give it to then a politician too, right? I mean, look, the polygraph test could fail. The politician could be lying, but at least if a politician, look, if you ask, let's put it this way, right? You go to a politician on the street and you say, "Hey, sir, will you be willing to take a lie detector test?" If he comes back and says no right away, major red flag. If he says yes, it doesn't mean that he's going to be telling the truth. But a politician that says no right away, like that's like you're basically it's saying you know because you're a liar. Like I would turn around and say, look, I'm an honest person. I'm going to take the lie detector test, but we all know that they're not 100% conclusive, and I'll still take it. I don't care. I'm an honest person, but and if I don't pass, at least I went and took it. It counts as something, as opposed to someone who just be like, "No, no way. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. You're not going to have me take a lie detector test on live television. No way. No, no, no." Like, clearly the person that says no right off the bat is a clear liar. Clearly. At least the person who agrees to take the lie detector test, at least there's maybe a chance that they're a bit an honest person. At least there's more of a chance, right? Rather than the person that just says no, 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 right as soon as you ask them. I mean, yeah, but like that's ridiculous. If they can be used in court, if lie detector tests are used in court, that's a pretty big deal. Then obviously they still carry a lot of weight, even though they're not 100% conclusive. So if lie detector tests can be used in court, like someone just said in the comments, then why can't they be used on politicians? Heck, and if we already know politicians are liars, then the lie detector test isn't going to hurt. It's not going to hurt to hook them up to a lie detector test. At least it would be entertaining. It would be so entertaining. I think Trump would do well, actually. I think, honestly, of all of the politicians, Trump would do the best on the lie detector test. Because you could be asked Trump, "Hey, Donald Trump, how do you really feel about Rosie O'Donnell?" Boom. We already know how he feels about Rosie O'Donnell, right? "Hey, Trump, how do you feel about the Western whatever media, this MSNBC News, whatever? How do you feel about them?" We see, you know what I mean? So Trump's already like, he's already pretty honest. Like he just tells us what he really thinks already. It's not we already know most of the answers for Trump if he took a lie detector test, honestly. Yes. Okay. Um, so one guy said that compulsive liars can easily pass. So interesting enough. So I don't know if you guys ever seen the TV series called Quantico. So first off, I know it's a TV series, But a lot of these TV series are based on like real events, real things, right? So it's not 100% true, but it's not 100% fiction either. So, anyways, there's a TV series. It was called Quantico. It's all about the FBI. Quantico is starring what's her name? Priyanka Chopra, and it was starring Quantico. And in one of the episodes of Quantico, when they're at the FBI training center, there's one guy who's like a total sociopath. Like, even the other FBI agents are scared of him because, like, they literally have a scene where all of the FBI agents are given polygraph tests. And then one of the guys is like such a stone cold sociopath liar that he like literally aces all of them within seconds, like doesn't even have to think. And then when other FBI agents are afraid, like you see the look on Priyanka Chopra's face, like she's afraid. Like she's literally afraid of this guy because he's such a sociopath liar. And he's like literally in the FBI training center at the FBI in Quantico. So like I know this is a TV show, but I'm just saying that this person's right. Someone in the comments said, yes, a compulsive liar can pass the polygraph test. But what I'm telling you is that at least it counts as some sort of evidence. At least it gives us some sort of hint, right? Because there's still a lot of people that they will get caught in a lie, right? So you do have the occasional compulsive liar that can pass it, but then it will still work for a lot of the other time, right? You know, when a basketball player shoots a ball, it doesn't always go in, but do people stop playing basketball? No. So when a basketball player shoots a ball in a hoop, it doesn't always go in, but that doesn't mean you should stop playing basketball. It still goes in sometimes. So the lie detector test actually will still work sometimes. So that's why you have to take it with a grain of salt, you know? And that's like with everything in life, really. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. It counts as some sort of evidence, at least, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And now that I have an audience, let me just say this. Canada, we do not have the Second Amendment. We do not. Any Canadian who tries to tell you that Canadians have guns, it's not true. Only a very special, privileged Canadian, a rich elite who maybe grew up in the RCMP or is an RCMP, they will have access to a gun. But that's only like what, 20% of the Canadian population? The rest of the 80% of the population, I don't have a gun. None of my family has a gun. None of my cousins have a gun. None of my friends at college had a gun. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's not normal for the average Canadian to have gun. We do not have guns to defend ourselves. And a lot of Canadians' businesses are being robbed. And the Canadian police are useless. The Canadian police are useless. Literally, there'd be thugs going in, bunch of thugs going in, robbing a bunch of businesses, and the Canadian police are useless. Okay? Like, so this is why Canada, we need conservative voters. We need conservatism. And we may even need to bring the Second Amendment to Canada. Because until it's actually in our amendment, until it's in our constitution, whatever, until it's actually written on paper, anyone who tries to tell me, oh, Canada, oh, yeah, you could get a gun in Canada, no, it's extremely hard. Like I said, you have to be either rich elite, have to grown up in the RCMP. It is not like, it's like climbing a mountain. It's like climbing Mount Everest. Oh yeah, you could totally get a gun in Canada if you climb Mount Everest. How many people you know are going to climb Mount Everest to get that gun? Seriously, come on. Like, it's not easy at all. It's extremely hard. So Canada, we do not have guns to defend ourselves. We simply don't. And that's why Canada, we need conservative voters. We need Texans. We need conservative Americans to move to Canada so that we will have conservative voters so we could vote out the liberal government. This is the only way that Canada will be able to get rid of the liberal government is with more conservative voters. And that's why we need to convince a lot of conservative Americans to move to Canada. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of room up here. There's a lot of land. There's a lot of free land. In fact, the Africans and the Indians and the communist Chinese, they love Canada because they realized how big and beautiful Canada is. There's so much free land. Literally, they're just moving on to land. Like listen, if a bunch of Texans got in their armored trucks, whatever, and then came to Canada, there was so much free land. Like there's like land, and it's all free. It's not being used. They could just park their whatever on the land, and then the next thing you know, we actually have a conservative voter base. We have conservative voters. That's what we need. We need conservative, and we need protection. We need protection. My auntie had a jewelry store. My auntie had a jewelry store. It was totally robbed. And when she called the police for help, they did nothing. And they took 2 hours. Who calls the police and complains that their jewelry store was being robbed and the police come 2 hours later? Does that sound normal to you? And my auntie, I know she exaggerated just a little bit because my auntie's known to exaggerate, but it's true. The police do take a long time to come. I don't know if it was 2 hours. Knowing my auntie and that she exaggerates a bit, it was probably maybe 45 minutes, but still 45 minutes is a long time to take the police to come. So there you go. We need conservatives. We need protection. We could use a bunch of Texans. We could use a bunch of Texans in Canada. They bring us protection. They would protect us from these criminals and these thugs. And then the liberal government, these criminals, they get off the next day. The liberal government, they lets all these people out. So like literally they get bail. Like they give bail like candy in Canada. Like that's how easy it is to get bail in Canada. Like literally, well, for certain things. I mean, if you're a journalist, if you're a Canadian journalist, you could get a lot of time in prison. Like if you talk bad about Justin Trudeau, you could get more time than someone who did an armed robbery. Like a person who did an armed robbery could get bail the next day. But a Canadian journalist who talks bad about Justin Trudeau could get like 3 years in prison and no bail. So it all depends. It depends on what it is. Basically, that's why the liberal government, that's why everyone hates the liberal government, is because you can't even talk bad about them. You can't even criticize them. If you criticize them, they close down your business. Look what they did with COVID. You know what they did with COVID? They made all of these hardworking businesses close down during COVID. All of these hardworking businesses, they lost money, they lost income, all because of this COVID. See, what people don't realize is that COVID, it literally was what changed people to hate Justin Trudeau. Because once COVID came in, what Justin Trudeau did during COVID was he destroyed the Canadian economy. Justin Trudeau destroyed the Canadian economy with COVID because so many people who had businesses for years, there were hardworking Canadians who had hardworking businesses for like 20 years. And then as soon as COVID hit, they lost everything. How does someone have a business for 20 years, a successful Canadian business for 20 years, and then COVID comes, and suddenly, are they a bad business owner? No, it's because they were forced to shut down. And of course, when you're forced to shut down for so long, you can't pay your bills, and then the creditors come, and then the next thing you know, you're out of business. And so Justin Trudeau, with COVID, he destroyed all of these Canadian businesses. That's why they don't like him. So actually, Justin Trudeau did much worse than what's in the meme right now. What it says in the meme, Justin Trudeau did much worse. He did blackface. He destroyed the Canadian economy. He made all these successful Canadian businesses go under. Like, he did much worse than what's in the meme right now. So, yeah. Well, sometimes you can define a successful business. So I'm going to answer this person's question. So I don't know how to say your name. On that. So on that. First off, keep in mind that most businesses fail within 3 years. So you could have a successful business that even if it just stays afloat, which means it breaks even, right? So if you have a business that can last for 20 years and break even, that's a successful business. That doesn't mean that they're a millionaire. Just because the person had a business for 20 years doesn't mean that they're rich. It just means that they was able to keep a business afloat for 20 years. That's actually a pretty big deal because most businesses fail within the first 3 years. Most businesses don't even succeed for past 3 years. So if someone could have a business for 20 years, sure, maybe it just breaks even. They just are able to pay their rent and just save a little bit of money, but at least they had a business for 20 years, but it doesn't mean they're going to be rich. Just because someone has a business for 20 years, like we should be applauding these people for saying, hey, you kept a business successful for afloat for 20 years, even though it just broke even maybe, or just slightly above breaking even. So that's what a lot of these businesses do. They're basically breaking even, a lot of these businesses. They're not like rich. They're not like Elon Musk rich. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A business that can get by. That's a big accomplishment because most small businesses go under within the first 3 years. So if there's a person who can manage to keep a business afloat for 20 years, we should be applauding these people. Okay? We should be saying, you know what? You're not a failure because most businesses go under within 3 years. So if you have a person, even if their business only broke even for 20 years, that's great. They had a they're a hardworking business owner. Okay? Better than these people who go looting and vandalizing. Okay? I don't know why people want to make people feel bad. I don't know why. Why do you want to make these hardworking business owners feel bad? Be like, oh, you're not a billionaire, you're not rich. Like, like these people are hardworking people. Sure, they're not a millionaire, but it doesn't mean that they don't work hard. There's a lot of people that work hard and they're not millionaires. Okay? See, so that's why people have to stop saying that, oh, if you're not a millionaire, it means you didn't work hard enough. There are a lot of people that work hard and are not millionaires. Just because you're not a millionaire doesn't mean that you didn't work hard. Okay, there's a lot of people that work hard. So we should not be shaming these people. These people work. Okay, I remember, I'll give you a perfect example. One time, I was in a chat room and there were two people arguing. And one of the person was a lawyer and the other guy was a barber. And you know what she said to him? She said, oh, you're just a barber, so you wouldn't understand. How dare you speak to someone like that? This is a hardworking man. This is a man who works every day. Even so, you're saying, oh, he's just a barber. Oh, so you're saying because he's a barber that he's not smart enough to have a conversation with you because you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer and he's just the barber. So just because he's just the barber, he's not smart enough to have a conversation with you. This is a hardworking man. This guy, what if he was a drug addict or he didn't even have a job or he was a vandal or a thief? Like, you should be applauding this guy for having a job at all. Like, I mean, there's all of these other people that literally they just go stealing and they're professional career criminals and they're just thieves and looters and vandalizers. So how dare you talk to someone like that? How dare you say to him, oh, you're just the barber? No, this is a person who has a job, who works 9 to 5, and then for you to talk down to him and just say he's just the barber, that offended me. It didn't offend him. He was actually a pretty nice guy. But I went and I'm like, that's offensive. Like, that's, if all of these PC people are saying, oh, politically correct people, how dare you talk to someone down to someone on their profession? Hey lady, do you not get your hair cut? You're a lawyer, and I'm sure that you aren't smart enough to cut your own hair. So, no, you can't talk. How dare you talk down to someone and say, "Oh, you're just a barber. You wouldn't understand." As if barbers can't understand politics. As if barbers cannot vote. As if, like, what a crazy lady. And that's so offensive. Like, I can't believe that. Imagine you made this guy feel so bad. He was probably one of the best barbers. He probably gave people the best, most professional haircuts, and you made him feel like garbage because you said, "Oh, he's just the barber." And also, I mean, you guys probably have seen on my other posts, like, why does Canada think it's okay to have very sketchy people in our education system? And I'm not even gonna go there because you have to, anyways, it's already on my other posts, but they have very sketchy people in Canadian education system, and it's not right. These, anyways, education is so important. Education sets the tone for the rest of someone's life. So if they don't have a good education, how do you expect these people to succeed? How do you expect these people to stand on their own 2 feet if they don't get a good education? So in my opinion, we should be investing way more into education and giving proper education too. But thank God for this online world because 20 years ago, like I'm in my 30s, right? But 20 years ago when I was a teenager, we didn't have the online classes and everyone had to go to class in person. We didn't have really cameras. We don't know if the teachers taught us correctly. I mean, like, I can't even remember really half. Like, I went to math class and I was getting like 90 average in math class, 90 average. But like, who knows if our teachers taught us everything 100% correctly? We don't really know. Now, however, because of online courses, everything's online. I mean, if a teacher is going to do a lecture online, they got to make sure that they know what they're saying and what they're talking about because it's online. It's literally being recorded. They're recording themselves. So if they screw up, that screw up is on a recording. So teachers now, because of the online world, because of online courses, teachers are held to a much higher standard, which means that students know they're getting a quality education. That's why I suddenly realized that we should be taking online courses. Online courses are great because if you're taking an online course, it means that it's a recorded, most likely the lessons are recorded. And if a teacher's willing to record themselves, you know that if they're going to put themselves on a video recording, they're going to be telling you that they're going to be doing their best teaching job, right? But half the time, I remember when we were in college and high school, half these teachers, they weren't recorded. They were coming to class late, maybe even drunk. And who knows if they were really teaching us correctly. They could have taught us so much stuff because they knew they weren't being recorded, so they didn't have to work as hard. And they knew, oh, well, no one's recording them, so if they just lie and make up stuff. So thank God for recordings, thank God for online courses, in my opinion. It's way better. I'm just moving up right now to see the comments that I met. Oh, crap. I accidentally, hold on a sec. I'm not a big live streamer, so I accidentally deleted someone's message. I didn't mean to delete. So one of the messages accidentally got deleted. I just was scrolling. I just went to hit scroll up, and when I went to hit scroll up, it went like a double click, and then it went into the delete, and I didn't mean. So someone's comment was deleted. I don't even remember what it said. Anyways, I'm sorry. Whoever made that comment, if you're in this live stream And your comment was deleted. I was an accident. So go ahead and repost whatever you said because I'm curious what you said. I like to read all the comments and I got lots of comments, but I like to read them. So I'm sorry, I accidentally deleted someone's comment. So you have to be so sensitive when you're scrolling because if you just tap too hard when you're scrolling, you could accidentally delete a comment. So let me see. So someone was saying something about Yellowstone. I think that was the comment that I accidentally deleted because it's in a shadow, like it's in a slighter. It's not as the text is lighter, so I think maybe that's the comment that was deleted. Anyways, I saw Yellowstone on I think it was Netflix or something or whatever, but I never watched it. So no, I'm not a fan of Yellowstone, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the show. I never actually watched it. So, but maybe I will now because you're recommending it. So maybe I will watch Yellowstone. And since I do have an audience, what I will say is in Canada, it is very cold. So um, listen, I'm not saying that our country's perfect. No country's perfect, especially not Canada. But it is very cold. But what I will say is Texans. I wanted to ask you guys. Apparently, you guys got snow just a few years ago, which is not normal for you guys. Apparently, to get snow. So listen, I don't know. I'm not a climate scientist. I'm not a climate expert. So, the only movies, like I said, I don't agree with the Michael Moore movies with the gun control. Those movies I don't agree with. But the movies about climate change, listen, I am not a climate scientist. I am not a climate expert. So how am I going to sit here and say that those people are wrong until I've actually studied climate change myself? So my question is because I'm hearing two different things here. I'm hearing half the people say that climate change is a crock, which it very well might be, maybe, I don't know. I'm not a climate scientist. And then I'm hearing all these other people saying climate change is real, global warming is real, all of this stuff is real. So, generally speaking, I know a lot of the Trump or MAGA people, they don't really believe in climate change. I'm not sure. Maybe they do. So that's my question. Is people from Texas, MAGA people, Do you guys believe in climate change? Do you believe in global warming? I'm not an well, I'm an environmentalist, but I'm not one of those crazy environmentalists that goes and throws red paint or anything. No, I'm not like that. But I'm just obviously pollution is important. Obviously, we have to keep Mother Earth clean from pollution because when I was growing up, I had severe asthma. My asthma was so bad I had to have an inhaler because I had bad asthma growing up because of the pollution. So I'm all about keeping Earth clean, not polluting the planet. That's what I really am an environmentalist in that sense. But so my question is do the people from Texas, the MAGA people, the Trumpers, do you guys believe that climate change is real? Could it be real? Is it fake? Is it global warming fake? I mean, like I don't know what to believe because like I said, there's half the people saying it's real, the other half the people saying it's a crock. So what is it? Because this is important. Climate change is important. This is a real issue. Climate change, if it is an issue, is a real issue. All of these other issues where they're saying about transgender using the men's, whatever, the female sports, listen, that's an issue too. I'm not saying that that's not an issue. But if you have to rank seriousness of issues, priority issues, clearly a priority issue would be climate change. Anything that could potentially destroy Mother Earth and the planet Earth, clearly that is a priority issue. So when I'm turning on the news and I'm seeing 9 out of 10 news stations talking about, oh, there was a transgender athlete that took the gold medal away from a female swimmer. Okay, sure, that's an issue. But why am I seeing 9 stations talking about the same transgender gold story, but I'm not even seeing 1 or 2 stations, I'm maybe just one. Like 1 out of 10 are actually talking about global warming and climate change. Hello? Is this bizarro world? Are we living in bizarro world? Is there another dimension in which people think that like that global warming and climate change is not worthy to be talked about at least the 2, 3 news stations? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a crock. I don't know. So and then speaking of climate change, um, like like I said, I'm not a climate scientist. I am not I'm trying to be a scientist and generally speaking, but I'm typically more into astronomy. So like what caused the flood? Like is the flood just a natural like what caused the flood, right? So where did the commenters go? Because I had all these commenters, people commenting. I don't see them anymore. But yeah, so of course, yes, if there's a transgender athlete who took the gold medal away from a female athlete, is that a worthy issue of being on the news? Yes, of course, it's an issue, but when you're comparing it to Mother Earth and climate change and global warming and the ice caps melting, I mean, hello, it's very clear that one of these issues is way more important than the other and is a priority issue, right? I mean, when it comes to national, not only national security of your country, but national security of the planet. When it comes to like the Earth potentially being destroyed, right? Like if an asteroid we're gonna hit Earth, clearly that is a priority issue that takes priority over a transgender athlete who took the gold medal away from a female swimmer. Like clearly, of course, I'm not denying that they're both issues. Obviously, I'm not denying that a transgender athlete taking the gold medal away from a female swimmer, that's an issue, of course. But I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 people would agree with me that an asteroid about to hit planet Earth is a priority issue that would take priority over. So what I don't understand is why I'm seeing every time I turn on the news, I'm always seeing a story about some, transgender athlete taking the gold medal, but I'm not seeing as much stories about climate change, global warming, ice caps melting, the Arctic. I'm actually reading a book right now, and it's like this guy apparently who used to be a Marine or something, whatever. He started to write novels, and he makes the Marines like. Anyways, so what's the guy? James Abel. Okay, so the author's name is James Abel, and he writes like these very action hero books involving a Marine. His main character is like a Marine. They have like these top secret research bases in the Arctic. He kind of specializes in the Arctic. Apparently, the Arctic is a very key place right now, globally speaking, between Russia, Canada, the United States, China. The Arctic is going to make a big difference in the future because when the ice caps are melting, suddenly now like boats can go, submarines can go, right? So and then Russians can go. The main thing is Russia, obviously. So even the book says that obviously the Arctic, the major concern is Russia. If Russia wasn't there, people wouldn't be as concerned about the Arctic. But when the Arctic starts opening up and suddenly Russian submarines, whatever. So I'm not an expert on the Arctic. I'm just saying apparently the Arctic is going to be revolutionary. Like something, whatever's going down in the Arctic, like so apparently also another thing too, and I actually did see a video on this. I did see a video actually, yeah. I'm pretty sure that it's called the Arctic 7 or something. They're like the Council of the Arctic or something. Anyways, like I said, I'm not an expert on the Arctic, but I do know that there is like a council of 7 countries that they're all the countries that border the Arctic. So every country that shares part of the Arctic is part of this like Arctic 7, right? And apparently they recently, if according to the YouTube video, if it's they're saying that Russia was kicked out of the Arctic 7. This big, or not, I guess that big, but it's basically 7 countries. Canada. Okay, so which countries border the Arctic? Okay, so Canada, Russia, for sure. Greenland, I think Greenland, Denmark. Is it Denmark? Um, Anyways, so 7 countries that border the Arctic, and Russia apparently, like for Russia to be kicked out of this Arctic 7 meeting, this meeting of 7 countries where they talk about the Arctic, because they like for Russia to be kicked out of this group, it's a pretty big deal. It means like it's kind of scary. It's as if something's gonna go down, like as if something's gonna go down in the Arctic. Because why would Russia suddenly be kicked out of this Arctic 7, right? Like these countries that all get together to talk about the Arctic. So this book that I'm reading right now, it's called The White Plague. It's very good novel. I like it when novels use like real facts. So obviously a fictional novel is not like it's fiction, but they talk about like real things. Like for example, they talk about scuba diving, right? So that you actually learn about scuba diving in a fictional novel because maybe a fictional novel writer who like used to do scuba diving, he starts suddenly telling you facts about scuba diving. So suddenly you're reading a fictional novel, and sure, the story's fictional, the characters are fictional, but he starts telling you about scuba diving, and you learn about scuba diving, right? Another novel, for example, it was called Atomic Mass, and it was all about when they were trying to get the nuclear blueprints for the atom bomb, the nuclear bomb, right? The nuke, right? So it was a World War II kind of book, and it was talking about Germany and Japan, the race for the nuclear, whatever. And then they taught you about a self-sustaining reaction. And then suddenly they were in the book they were talking about a self-sustaining reaction. So it was Sarah Paretsky, and it was called Atomic Mass. The book was called, the novel was called Atomic Mass by Sarah Paretsky. And suddenly she starts talking about a self-sustaining reaction. She starts talking about uranium and plutonium and the nuclear agreements and all that stuff. And the disposal of nuclear waste. So you're actually learning a lot. Like, even though it was a fictional story, now suddenly you're learning a lot about nuclear waste. You're learning how it has to be disposed. You're learning about how that what it takes to create a nuclear self-sustaining reaction, all of that stuff, right? So, anyways, the book that I'm reading right now, it's very heavy on the Arctic. And it's as soon as I saw it, I picked it up because I had read another book by James Abel. And this guy, he's smart. Like he's like it's basically, I think he was like a former Marine or something. So it's like he's writing a fictional book, but it's not like you're reading Harry Potter. It's about wizards, and it's not like you're reading Harry Potter. You're reading a fictional book written by a Marine. Like this guy knows stuff. He knows stuff, right? Or I think he was a Marine. And he was something. He was something big. He was either a Marine or he was a Navy SEAL or something. He was something in whatever. But what I'm saying is like I'm not talking about a fictional book. See, that's why people it drives me it kind of irks me when someone says, "Oh, I don't read fictional books." Okay, this isn't Harry Potter. I'm not talking about Harry Potter. I'm talking about a CIA, a Central Intelligence Agency novel, or a spy novel, or a novel, a World War II, a World War II novel. Like, sure, it's a fictional story, but they start talking about tanks. They start talking about espionage. They start talking about diplomacy, world diplomacy. These are real things. They're not talking about magic wands. They're not talking about like Harry Potter, like wizards and stuff. These are like they're talking about diplomacy. They're talking about uh, international finance. And one of the books I was reading all about international finance, there's a lot of rules into international finance, right? Suddenly, they were talking about how like these big tech companies, how they made their fortune. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So like the book was pretty helpful in telling you how these big tech companies made their fortune. And I'm like, suddenly when the book, a novel explains it, it's amazing when a novel explains like stuff like that. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of in-depth detail and you learn a lot. So basically, this book right now, called The White Plague, it's really good. I'm into it. I'm reading it. And The White Plague, it's all about this, I guess, like these bioweapons and bio research facilities. And then I'm in the first chapter, and basically, something about Russia and they're worried about the Russians, but then it might actually not. Anyways, I'm not gonna spoil the book for anyone, but basically, I strongly suggest people look into the Arctic more because the Arctic, there's something going on with the Arctic. Like it's something's going down, right? Because like if suddenly Russia was part of this Arctic Seven of these countries that all came together to have meetings about the Arctic, and suddenly Russia's out of it, like it's because something might go down in the Arctic. The Russians, they want the Arctic, they want something key infrastructure in the Arctic. Anyways, I mean, I know I rambled on a little bit, but I don't know. I just kind of concerned where the comments went because I had all these people commenting, and suddenly everyone went silent. It's bizarre. I don't know what happened there. So I had no choice but to ramble because I was waiting for someone to make a comment. No one said anything. So what am I supposed to do? But anyways, no, it's true. I like to read. I like to read novels. I read a lot about the Arctic. I read a lot about nuclear physics. I read a lot about international finance. I'm trying to tell how smart I am. No, I'm not really smart. I'm not really smart at all because if I was smart, I would have a big tech company. Okay, listen, I have to call a spade a spade. Kim Kardashian is a genius. I mean, she's a social climber, Kim Kardashian. Look, if you watch the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the TV show. Anyways, I'm not basing my opinion of Kim Kardashian being a genius on watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but She is a business entrepreneur. She's like a self-made, whatever, millionaire, billionaire, Kim Kardashian. She's a smart woman. So sure, if you just, base your opinion on her of watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she's not gonna look that super smart in that show, but she's a successful business entrepreneur. So if anyone's smart, it's people like her. They're the smart ones. I mean, I'm pretty stupid. I just read novels. I mean, anyone can read a novel, right? But can you actually build a successful tech company and make yourself a billionaire? I'm not a billionaire, right? So these billionaires are pretty smart. That's what I'm saying. So. And then also the reason why Donald Trump, one of the big reasons why Mr. Donald Trump was saying about making Canada the 51st state was, and this I've asked my Canadian elders the same question. Why is Trump wanting to make Canada the 51st state? And what a lot of Canadians are saying, my elders, my Canadian elders, they're saying that it's one of the big reasons is for protection because Canada is extremely worried about like a Russian Chinese kind of invasion kind of thing going on. And apparently, that's why Trump was looking at Greenland. He wanted to take over Canada. Like they're really concerned. They're really worried because when you have I'm not saying it's Russia. I'm not saying it's China, but I'm just saying when you have a country in general, okay, let's just take a, let's just, I'm not gonna, I don't want to call out Russia, I don't want to call out China, even though, anyways, let's just say, in generally speaking, when you have a country that is known to take over other countries, then, listen, Russia didn't become the biggest country by being, there's a reason Russia's the biggest country in the world, okay? Let me just go ahead and say it, okay? I'm gonna be Trump for 2 minutes. Well, I'm not Trump, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest like Trump for 2 minutes. There's a reason Russia's the biggest country in the world. Okay, you think that you just like looked at like it's like Kamala Harris with that coconut comment, what she said about the coke falling out of the coconut tree or something. You think that Russia became the biggest country in the world by being nice? You think that Russia became the biggest country in the world by being nice? Is that what you think? You think the Russians just nicely asked for land? Hey, can we like you look at a map of the world and Russia is huge. Like Russia is like it's like almost half the world, Russia. No wonder all of these little countries are worried. You know what I mean? So Russia didn't get the biggest country in the world by being nice. I mean, or maybe they're just smart business people like Kim Kardashian, whatever. So, but anyway, so basically, Trump, one of the reasons why he wants to make Canada the 51st state is for protection, is to protect Canada, or so we think. Because I'm going to tell you another spade like it is. This is just the way it is. This is how I feel. A lot of people try to tell me, "Oh, America protects Canada from Russia." And then I turn around and I say, "Well, actually, in my opinion, Russia protects Canada from America." Because I mean, Russia right now, Russia's not saying they want to take over Canada. The people who are saying they want to take over Canada are the United States. So, and in fact, my argument, actually, my logic is more sound and when you think about it, because the people who are trying to say, "Oh, the United States protects Canada in case of Russia, like from Russia. The United States is protecting Canada from a Russian invasion." And I turn around and say, but Russia's not saying they want to make Canada the 51st whatever Russia. They don't Russia isn't saying that they want to make Canada the whatever. I don't even does Russia have provinces, territories, oblast? Russia's not saying they want to make Canada the whatever, the 31st Oblast or whatever. Like the people who are actually talking about invading Canada are Americans. So really, when you think about it, it's really more like Russia is protecting Canada from an American invasion, right? So, I mean, it's true. I mean, the Russians aren't saying Putin isn't going on stage, although maybe he really thinks it. But I mean, we don't really know what he's really thinking. I mean, maybe he's just a smart guy. Maybe he's not going to go on stage and admit that, oh, he wants to take over Canada. Okay, maybe that's the case. Maybe they do want to take over Canada and they're just not going to go blurt it out on stage, right? But when you look at what's really going on right now, the people who are saying that they want to take over Canada, it's not the Russians. They're not on stage saying they want to take over Canada. It's the Americans. So, yeah, I think Russia might be actually protecting Canada from an American invasion. But anyways. But I mean, there are Russians everywhere. You know, at the end of the day, like Canadians and Americans, we kind of blend in with each other in a way. So it's not really like there's such big differences that there's going to be fighting. But the Russians, on the other hand, this is why I like to play both sides, is because, like, listen, it's not, sure, to an extent, it's playing both sides, but it's also realizing that it's better to keep peace with everyone, right? So it's not about playing both sides. Sure, yeah, you have to play both sides in many ways. You have to have multiple friends, right? Sometimes you have two friends that don't like each other. That doesn't mean you're going to stop being friends with one of them. You still have to be friends with both of them. Canada, we get all of these calls from Americans complaining about Mother Russia. Then Canada gets all of these calls from Mother Russia complaining about America. And we have to listen to both sides. We're like caught in the middle. Canada's like in the middle of Russia and America. And we have to kind of play both sides of it. But at the end of the day, it is better to keep the peace. It really is. It's better to keep the peace. And I read an interesting quote one time. It was I can't remember who the quote was, but anyways, it was some quote. Anyways, I can't remember the person who came up with the quote, but something about the way to get rid of your enemy is to make them your friend, which really is true. A lot of times, the reason people have enemies is because, like, why do you have an enemy? It's like, why not make them your friend, right? If you have a person that's your enemy and you could make them your friend, unless they did something really heinous to you, like, unless they did something completely unforgivable, right? But you're not gonna go like, oh, we were at the movies and he stole my popcorn, so he's like my mortal enemy now. Okay, so he took like a $3 bag of popcorn from you. Are you really gonna be enemies with this person? Because, or maybe, yeah, maybe you really like popcorn. Maybe you're a person that grew up in a popcorn farm or something, and you were denied popcorn growing up, and suddenly this person who goes and anyway, whatever. That's not what I'm saying. So whatever. I'm just saying it's better. It's better to make people your friends. It's better to keep the peace. Be the peacekeepers. Like Canada, we used to be known for being these peacekeepers. Everyone loved Canada, you know, and that's the best thing to do. Like we're friends with everyone. Canada, we're friends with the United States. We're friends with Russia. We're friends with Iran. We're friends with North Korea. We're friends with Cuba. We're friends with whatever, Afghanistan. We're friends with everyone. So Japan. When you think about it too, there's always been a war. Okay, so if you look at the last 200 years, for anyone who tries to say, "Oh, the chances of that there's going to be a war, not really likely." Actually, no, it's pretty likely. Because if you just look at the last 200 years, we have had how many wars? So we had World War One, right? Within the last 200 years. We had World War Two, which was World War Two was a pretty big war. We had the war in the Middle East after 9/11. We had the Vietnam War. We had the Korean War. We had the war on whatever, So we had all these wars within a 200-year span. 200 years is not a long time. So to have like what, 7, 8, 9, 10 wars within 200 years, that's a lot of wars, especially World War II, which was a big one. So war actually is a reality. It's a very possibility war. But we like to all wake up every day and think, oh, it's probably not gonna, it's unlikely to happen. And then, everyone right before World War II, I'm sure all of those people right before World War II, they all thought, oh, World War II, yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. Those Germans, the Germans are just joking with us. And then what happened, right? So it's like, no, it actually, war is a lot more common. I mean, we shouldn't just start panicking. I'm not saying we should all go start panicking down the streets. War, war, war. We're probably gonna have another war soon. No, but I'm just saying, like, you should be prepared for war in case there could be a war. That's what I'm saying. It's better to be prepared. It's better to be prepared than not be prepared. That's what I'm saying. So, it's better to be prepared. So apparently, yeah, the Arctic. I did also uh, overheard some Canadians say that apparently there are like these minerals or something in the Arctic and the Canadian Arctic, like northern Canada. There's like these really valuable minerals and resources that are not being well protected right now. Apparently, Canada is really trying to get people up there to protect the valuable minerals and resources because they're worried that the Russians could just come in and swoop up those valuable minerals and resources in the northern part of Canada. And then also in Russia's defense, because sure, I call that Russia. I call that Russia for what, I call out Russia. I said Russia did not become the biggest country in the world by being nice. But also, let me call out the United States because the United States, they have had a lot of conflicts with a lot of different countries. So I have to be fair. I have to be fair and call it like it is. Sure, Russia's the biggest country in the world. Clearly, they didn't become the biggest country by being nice, but also the United States. I mean, the United States had a war with Japan. The United States had a conflict with Germany. The United States even had a war with Canada, the War of 1812. The United States had a war with Korea. The United States had an issue with Cuba, Russia. Like the United States has a trade war with China. The United States has had an issue with a lot of countries. That definitely is concerning, for Canadians. Like, why is the United States not being able to get along with so many countries? Why can't they get along? Sure, yes, if the country is run by a dictator, you shouldn't make friends with dictators. You shouldn't bend like you shouldn't so I could see the United States, I could see them saying, yeah, we don't want to bow down to dictators. That I agree with. But I mean, it's like look at the Japanese people. Like the Japanese people are so nice and intelligent. Like you don't like what happened there. And then the Germans, like the Germans of today, they're so nice and intelligent. Like what happened, America? Why did you fight with these people? Like why did you fight with the Japanese? Why did you fight with the Germans? Why did you fight with the why did you fight with, like I see why you fought with Rosie O'Donnell. I see why Trump fought with Rosie O'Donnell. But like why did you fight with the Germans? Why did you fight with the Japanese? You like being in Japan and you're eating sushi and playing video games, and all these Japanese people are so nice and the food is so good. They actually have like it's like its own flavor called umami. It's like it's a taste. Like the Japanese people, they're so good at cooking that they like literally like they have a new taste. They like it's a special taste, whatever. It's called umami, whatever. So it's anyway. So Japanese, like you're eating all this good Japanese food. You're playing video games. The Japanese people are so nice to you, and the thought's gonna cross your mind. Why did Americans fight with these people? These Japanese people are so nice and intelligent and smart. Why did the Americans fight with these people? I'm confused. And then you go to Germany and you're at Oktoberfest and you're drinking beer and you're eating sausages and you're dancing with these beautiful German women. I was about to say beautiful German men. Wow, I say anyways. And so anyways, yeah, so you're dancing with these beautiful German people, and then it's like the thought's gonna cross your mind. Why did America fight with these people? Why did America fight with these nice Germans? I don't get it. And then you go to Quebec, and then you're like, you're in Quebec, and you're in Quebec, and you're like, yeah, I know why America fought with these French people. No, the French Canadians actually they fight with everyone. It's the language barrier. It's always been a language barrier. In fact, literally, I used to ask my teachers. I used to say, "Why does Quebec want to separate?" Because of course, Quebec had a big referendum. There was a big referendum in which Quebec voted. There was a big vote. Okay, I remember Justin Trudeau too, Prime Minister. There's a video of him where he was like a teenager, I think, and he was talking about the vote. He was like 18, 19, and he was talking about how Quebec wanted to separate from Canada, right? And and they might even separated for real. And so I asked my Canadian teachers, and I said, why does Quebec want to separate from Canada, or why did they want to separate? Because we were learning about the referendum after it happened. When I learned about the referendum, it was just a few years after it happened, and they lost the referendum. It was, I think, a 50-50 tie, so it didn't happen. Quebec didn't separate. But I asked my Canadian teachers, why does Quebec want to separate from Canada? And my Canadian teachers, they were very diplomatic about it. And this is how they answered. They said, class is over, and the semester's over, and so we're not being paid a minute anymore, and we're not going to answer the question. And I said, but why did Quebec want to separate from Canada? You didn't answer the. And then they said, okay, no, okay, no, I'm joking a bit. I'm a bit joking. Okay, no, actually, what my Canadian teacher said was they said the reason that Quebec wanted to separate from Canada was because of the language barrier. It has always been the language barrier. The being the French, okay, there's all of these issues because if it's not bilingual, if a French person goes and they go to a store and it's not 100% bilingual, or if they go to a government office, it's not bilingual. It's always been the language barrier. The French, the English, the French, the language barrier has always been the issue between French Canada and English Canadians. So there you go, Americans. If you came in here and you wanted to know about French Canadians, which I doubt you did, then I just told you something interesting, which you probably already figured that the language barrier, there was a big language barrier between French Canadians and English Canadians, whatever. So, but I was just thinking, Texas, hey, Texas, didn't you guys also want to separate at one point? I mean, I do remember reading something that the Texas wanted to separate. And I mean, wouldn't that be better for your economy? I mean, Texas is pretty much like Texas is huge. Texas is almost like its own country, Texas. I mean, Texas is technically bigger than there are countries that are smaller than Texas. There literally are European countries that are smaller in size and population than Texas. So Texas really could be its own country. So why doesn't Texas succeed from the United States? Texas could have a referendum and be successful. When Quebec did the referendum, it wasn't successful. Quebec wasn't successful in separating from Canada, but maybe Texas, maybe you guys, there is a good reason to separate from the United States. I mean, but that would be bad. I mean, that would be really bad for conservatives because the conservative vote, like if Texas is a big part of the conservative vote, right? So if Texas left the United States, then Democrats would always win, right? Is that right? Like I'm a Canadian, so I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question to Americans, my American comrades. Well, you're not really my comrades, but anyways. Well, I guess the Russians would be more. Anyway, sorry. I'm asking a question. If Texas succeeded from the United States, then the Democrats would pretty much always win, right? Because then suddenly you don't have the Texan vote in the conservative vote from Texas. The Democrats would start winning way more elections if Texas wasn't in. So Texas leading the United States would change the United States political system forever. Like there would be a big issue there. But it might be worth it. It really might be because, Texas, listen, Texas, if you are not being treated with respect and dignity like you deserve, and I'm talking about on an economic level. I'm not talking about jokes and stuff. I'm not talking about, oh, someone disagrees with you or argues with you. I'm talking about on an economic level where it counts, okay? Because at the end of the day, you could have two business people, they could be rude, they could be whatever, but business is business. Money's money, right? In fact, I remember seeing some business partners who like hated each other and business people, business professionals who talked to each other in such a vulgar way because it was funny. Because when people have money, when they're rich, they literally can say whatever they want. I mean, rich people look at Donald Trump. Like that's the reason he has free speech is because he's rich. I mean, he could literally say he doesn't have to worry about being fired. So Trump has free speech. He could literally say whatever he wants. He doesn't have to worry about being fired. So a lot of times rich successful business people, they literally say whatever they want and they are vulgar sometimes. So what I'm saying is that when you have two businesses, what really matters is the money, and that's why Donald Trump is smart because he doesn't care about if you say like how you talk. Like Trump is all about the money. He's really money's what matters. So if someone's rude to you, if at the end of the day, like if you're doing, for example, with Elon Musk, right? So Elon Musk, they were doing a report on the White House or something about the Trump administration. I was almost at the White administration. The Trump administration. The Trump administration was saying that Elon Musk apparently they did a whole special report. It was an Inside Edition, right? Was it Inside Edition? It was a big news agency that did a special report on Elon Musk doing the ketamine. He was doing the ketamine, right? So at the end of the day, Elon Musk is one of Donald Trump's biggest donors. So is Trump going to turn around and say, "Oh, Elon Musk is doing all this ketamine, so Trump's not going to take Elon Musk's money anymore"? Of course, Donald Trump is still going to take Elon Musk's money. Why would you'd have to be only an idiot would turn down like $50 million? Like imagine if if like Elon Musk is gonna give you $50 million and you're like, I don't care. I don't like the way you spoke to me, so I'm not gonna take your $50 million. Hello? You could you could speak to me however you want. If you're giving me $50 million, you could call me every name in the book if you want. Because if you gave me $50 million. So Trump is smart. Like Trump literally it's all about the money with Trump, right? None of this PC political correctness stuff. It's all garbage because what really matters at the end of the day is money. And so Texas, sorry, that's what was my point. Texas, what really matters is the money. So if Texas, if you're not getting the economic benefit from being part of the United States, then you should succeed, in my opinion only if it benefits you economically. If you go and you do all of the like all of the accounting, all of the paperwork, all of the budgeting, and you say, oh wow, Texas would be so much better off economically if we did succeed from the United States. Then I would say go for it. I mean, if it's going to benefit you financially, Texas, to succeed from the United States, then do it. That's what I'm saying. But you have to take some really smart accountants. You have to take some really good tax people, some business people, marketing people, accounting people, and you have to finance people. You have to find people who really know what they're doing And then you need to really have them go through all of the books in Texas and then turn around and say, would Texas be better off economically if Texas did succeed from the United States? And then if they would, then go for it. Why not, right? Heck, Texas, you guys are a lot of America's protection, really, when you think about it. And what at the end of the day, what matters the most is protection. Protection is very valuable. So, I mean, if Texas were to succeed from the United States, it would leave all of these northern states, these liberal states, these Democrat states, they would be so vulnerable. Canada could take them. I mean, if Texas succeeded from the United States, then Canada could probably have it like right now, if it was Canada versus the United States in the way it currently is, Canada obviously would is no match for the United States because of Texas. But if Texas were to succeed from the United States, then suddenly Canada, and not just Canada, Russia, China. So really what I'm saying is that Texans, you by providing protection, you are way more valuable than the way the United States treats you. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is you can leverage that. The Texans, you could leverage the fact that you pretty much you got the guns, you protect the country, you're right, because Texans they're loaded full of guns. Like Texas is a huge state. Texas is huge. Texas is like the biggest gun state, I think, right, in all of the United States. So you guys are a big, you guys you offer a lot of protection to the rest of America. So, I mean, you could leverage that. You could leverage so much, Texas. You just got to go through the books. You got to get some good accountants. You got to get some economic people, some finance people, some marketing people. Have them go through the Texas books and say, look, would Texas be better off economically if we separated from the United States? And if you would be, then yeah, then go for it. Why not? Go follow the money. The Trump does it. Trump follows the money. Elon Musk goes for the money. They all go for the money. So Texas, you got to go for the money. You got to go for whatever brings you the money. That's my opinion. So, I'm gonna be wrapping up the live stream soon. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's joined. Um, and I wanted to say, of course, I am a conservative Canadian, and I feel really bad for what's happened in Texas with the floods. I also believe in God, and I pray to God every day for Texas. I always, um, I always say God bless everyone. Also, especially, of course, the conservative states, but God bless everyone. And I'm praying for Texas. I feel really bad what's happening with Texas. My whole thing is I just wanted to expose these liberals because these liberals have destroyed our country. And these liberals are not helping Texas when we could be helping Texas. That was my point. So I just want to make that very clear. But I thought that actually was kind of clear. Because anyone who looks at this meme would say, this is a person who's criticizing Justin Trudeau. I am not a fan of Justin Trudeau. I didn't vote for Justin Trudeau. Clearly, I don't like him. I'm clearly criticizing him. And anyone who looks at the meme, I thought that it would be pretty obvious that you would put two and two together to say, I don't like Justin Trudeau. I think he's a phony. I don't like him. So I'm on the side of Texas. I'm on conservative side. I'm a conservative Canadian, and I'm on the side of conservative Americans, and I'm on Texas's side. Okay? So my whole point of the meme and the live stream was that, Trump says he has free speech, and Elon Musk says he has free speech, and all these Americans say they have these free speech. Well, Canadians, we have free speech too. And we have the right to criticize our government. We have the right to criticize Canada. Canadian citizens, we have the right to criticize our politicians. And I'm trying to criticize Justin Trudeau because I made a really good point. It's not fair. It's not fair that he can destroy Canada and then just resign and there be no consequences. Is that fair? Is it fair that a politician and people, like, there's a reason people do not like Justin Trudeau. That's the reason he resigned. He had to resign because people, like, he had a really low approval rating, right? So, how is it fair that a politician like Prime Minister Justin Trudeau can destroy Canada and then just resign and then just go retire on a beach somewhere and there'd be no consequences? Like, this guy destroyed the Canadian economy. Is it fair? What's the just? Where's the justice? Where's the consequences of his actions? This is not fair. Okay? So that's why I'm asking a question. This whole live stream was more of a question. How do we get justice? Should we take him to court? Should we start a civil lawsuit? Maybe we have to start a civil lawsuit. Peaceful protest? Is a peaceful protest the solution, which is our right to do a peaceful protest? Anyways, God bless Texas. God bless everyone. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. I'm praying for Texas. I love Texas. I love everyone in Texas. I love, of course, all Americans. I love all Canadians. I love all Russians. I love all North Koreans. I love everyone. I love the whole world, especially the North Koreans. I love them. I love the Japanese. Anyways, I love the whole world. God bless everyone. God bless the world. And thank you to everyone who's joined the live stream. And everyone have a good weekend, have a good month, have a good everything, and let's pray for everyone. Let's please pray for continue to pray for Texas. Okay, thank you.